My name is Rochester. But the question is, who am I? Am I a large corporation? Am I a bunch of flowers? Am I a plate full of garbage? And dare I drop the F-bomb? The fast ferry. The truth is, I'm kind of having an identity crisis. I don't really know who I am. But what I do know is that I need a sustainable identity. I need to find out who I am. So here we have this place called High Falls, in the middle of our downtown. It's been there for millions of years. It was carved out by glaciers. It literally defines the very sense of place that we have here in our city, yet so often it's an afterthought. High Falls is an incredible place. Not only is it the birthplace of Rochester, but it's also a 96-foot tall waterfall in the heart of a canyon in the middle of our city. And we really believe that this is a world-class site. It's worthy of our attention, it's worthy of investment, it's worthy of discovery. So let's talk a little bit about the modern history of the gorge as we know it. Let's skip a few million years ahead. We'll start with the 1800s, where a sustainable balance of growth began with water-powered flour mills, which gave birth to the Flour City. Here we are celebrating TEDxFlourCity today. That later gave way to hydroelectric power. Still, there was a sustainable balance. Everything was in harmony with the environment and the built environment. But as we entered the 1920s, we began to explore coal-fired generation. And the balance began to shift. We began to actually contaminate the land, contaminate the environment in this beautiful place. And we left behind toxic chemicals, including coal gases and tars. This led to waste dumping in the 1940s, where asbestos, lead, and mercury contamination happened in our soil, even cyanide, we've been told. Later on, this led to the abandonment of the built environment. The power plants began to move elsewhere as the hydroelectric became less than a satisfactory long-term solution. And so derelict buildings began to take place in the 80s, and demolitions took place. And then as recently as 2011, the RG&E BB power plant actually came offline. And this left this once beautiful, pristine place polluted, abandoned, and forgotten. I wish I could make my voice echo right there. And the question now is, well, where is everybody? But I believe that there's new opportunity for this incredible local asset and gem in our community. But the question is, how do we find a sense of new identity, new purpose, and new vision? Clearly, we must find an answer. Well, we at Friends of the GardenAerial believe this is through the creation of something that we're calling the Gorge EcoDistrict. It's a way to position the very first eco-district in the state of New York while also holding to ambitious environmental goals and standards to bring back this gorge, to bring back the center of our city back to life and create incredible vibrancy. An eco-district has the ability to make neighborhoods come alive. We see green technology meeting green space, wind turbines, bike lanes, public transportation, parks, rain gardens, even farmers markets. Create a place where the community can gather around a living, breathing community. And we also know that eco-districts have happened successfully both nationally and internationally. Places like Portland, where there's 5 eco-districts right now, Seattle, Malmö, Sweden, and Utrecht, Netherlands. So the question then becomes, how do we leverage eco-district assets to reconnect our communities, create sustainable development, and again, reposition Rochester for the future, something that's truly innovative? And we know that some cities have taken on green space projects where there's this balance that happens between the environment and that built environment. Places like the Bridge of Flowers in Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts, the High Line in New York City are inspiration all the time. Greenville, South Carolina, a polluted area near the Reading River Bridge that was brought back to life through just putting a pedestrian bridge over the top of a waterfall. And we believe here that the GardenAerial is going to be our version of that. So what is the GardenAerial? Well, let me explain it to you in 3 phases. It begins with this place we've discussed already, High Falls. Phase 1 will involve Brown's Race and a Brewers Square Promenade. This is phase 1. Flower Garden is within a year's time. We hope to have this complete. This takes the 300-foot long Brown's Race recreation raceway and creates a sustainable sunken garden out of it, one that actually showcases beautification of the environment while also showcasing rain garden technology like we talked about, a tribute to our past as the Flower City through actual millstones, and creating this lush and beautiful, vibrant space. This is a reimagined Granite Mill Square Park. This would become the gateway park into the rest of the GardenAerial project, a place where things like the Hochstein Summer Music Concert Series could have a better place to gather. People could gather around music in the natural environment. And the Brewers Square Promenade. This is on the east side of the gorge, a place where you can grab your Jenny beer. You can see improved trail infrastructure along the best view of the falls. So that's phase 1. Let's talk about phase 2. This is where it gets exciting. Phase 2 will actually involve spanning the Genesee River and creating a connection into Center City downtown. It will make High Falls relevant for the first time in a long time. This is about expanded identity for Rochester. This is saying Rochester in one sentence and it also meaning High Falls instead of Rochester and High Falls like they're 2 separate places less than a quarter mile away from each other. The Falls Bridge downtown connection will mimic the architecture of the Pont de Rennes. You can see here in this illustration, you could actually span the top of the falls. If you were to turn left, you could actually walk via a cantilevered walkway underneath the CSX rail spur, underneath the inner loop, and connect directly with the heart of downtown. So there's phase 1, which we've discussed, Brown's Race, a reimagined walkway along the brewery. Phase 2, spanning the Genesee River over the top of High Falls and creating a critical connection to downtown. And finally, what will be phase 3. Phase 3 is a reimagined Pont de Rennes bridge house and the creation of a winter garden, which will maximize year-round attraction to this beautiful place. That all together with pre-existing trail infrastructure will create a 3/4-mile loop trail around High Falls. And here we see what could actually be a reimagined Pont de Rennes. The Pont de Rennes bridge house would have a glassed-in substructure underneath. The bridge would actually be canopied along the top, so you could choose to go along the top or into the base of it. Again, it would be good for year-round use. Perhaps the best restaurant in the entire city is located here. Elevator access down to the lower level that gets you in touch with the river. It creates unprecedented engagement with the natural environment. And here's the winter garden. Once again, mimicking the architecture of the Pont de Rennes. This is a tribute to the Flower City, Flower, where we might even have a cultivar garden which preserves endangered plant species and encourages people to learn about plants around the world that are disappearing every day. So this is the GardenAerial. This is the reimagination of place and what we believe could be a sustainable identity for Rochester in every form. We hope that you'll follow our efforts at GardenAerial.org. Join us in making Rochester a place that has sustainability for the future. Thank you.